All right, let's talk supplementation. Listen, a lot of people are going to be getting ready to start their exercise and nutrition program coming up here in January. They're going to be kicking off those New Year's goals and resolutions. And invariably, one of the things that always comes up is what supplement should I take? So, what I'm going to begin with is I'm going to start with what a lot of people would consider the extreme to pain a point. One of the things that I see all the time on social media is if you go to the comment section of anybody that is in great shape, lean, jacked, and ripped, invariably, people that are softer than Pillsbury Doughboy are going to be in those comment sections saying steroids. Let's just get this out of the way right now. No, I'm not going to recommend that you take steroids. I am going to talk a little bit about HRT during the supplementation process for the people that I think it's a good fit for, but I clearly don't take steroids. I do not look like a bodybuilder at all. And there are a lot of bodybuilders who are bodybuilders and don't take steroids. But what's important for us to understand is let's just talk about that set of people that are professional bodybuilders that are on the gear. Even though they take steroids, that is not the reason they look the way they look. I've been in the fitness industry for 18 years. I started off in big box gyms, and I know a lot of people over the years that have taken steroids. I know people that take steroids now. I have zero judgment for them because the steroids are simply a tool in the toolbox. It would be like saying that the hammer built the house. No, it didn't. It was a tool, and they couldn't have built the house without the hammer, but the hammer did not build the house. When you look at people, especially people that are stage worthy, those people are dialed in on their diet. They do not make excuses. They don't drink. They are getting 8 hours sleep a night. They're counting every single macro, every calorie, everything that's in and out. They are logging in and tracking it. They look the way that they look because they are insanely disciplined. And it is beyond insulting to imply that the only reason they look the way they look is because they took steroids. Now, again, steroids absolutely helps, but it's not the be-all, end-all. And any of you could ignore everything I'm going to talk about right now, go out and get on steroids, and I promise you, if you do not become insanely disciplined, you're not going to see the type of transformation they see. You'll see transformation, but not to that level. Now, with that being said, that's out the way. Let's delve into general supplementation. The reason I led with the steroid concept is because so many people believe that if they just get the right supplement, that it's going to fix all of the things they lack, the discipline, the drive, the tracking, the hard work. And it's not. It is not. There's not a supplement out there, all the way up to steroids, that is going to replace the hard work of being able that it takes to build a lean and jacked body. And we can see this with a lot of the people that are on Ozempic. Yes, they've lost a lot of weight, a lot of body fat, but they've lost a lot of muscle too. Why? Because they're simply taking something that is, in my opinion, very dangerous and is going to come out down the road, is going to be detrimental to their long-term health in order to lose weight. But they're also just shedding muscle along with it. I personally believe that supplements, the way that you should approach supplementation is to understand that the hint is in the name, supplements. Supplements are designed to supplement a well-balanced meal. They're designed to be supplemental to you getting a good night's sleep, being hydrated, and training smart and hard when you go to the gym. Now, with all of that said, I'm not a big supplementation recommender. There are just a handful of supplements that I recommend that everyone takes, and I'm going to give you a quick rundown on these today and why I believe so. Number one, king of all kings, you should be taking when it comes to supplementation is a protein. Now, I recommend a whey protein for the vast majority of people out there. It's easy to digest, and it is going to help you, and I'm going to paint on a broad brush, but around 70% of our clientele at Soldier Fit are female. All of my clientele at the herd are males. But with all of that being said, at a general rule, one of the biggest things that I see females struggle with is they get full. And so they can sometimes run into roadblocks when it comes to trying to get their protein in. Protein is king because literally every part of your body is made up of protein. Our body also has a very limited capacity to store protein, whereas we can store carbohydrates pretty effectively, even though that's capped as well. And then fat is it's almost no upper limit on how much fat we can store. So it's important that we get enough protein every day. Now, the general recommendation for anyone out there is going to be 0.8 to 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. But if you want to keep it even simpler, Because unless you experiencing some of the side effects, very few people do experience this, but unless you experience like bloating, constipation, gas, honestly, there's really no upper limit for protein that you can take in a day. So what I say as a very general rule, makes it easy. You don't have to do the math. 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Up until you start getting to the point where if you're 220, 230 plus pounds and you're overweight, I'm not talking about you have a lot of muscle in your body. I'm talking about you're overweight. If you're getting up there and you're overweight, then you can scale that back to to a gram per pound of desired body weight. So if you're 250 pounds and you want to get to 190 pounds, then I'm going to recommend that you take 190 grams of protein per day. This is going to absolutely help you maintain lean muscle mass, if not put on some muscle mass while you're losing the weight. Protein's 3 times more thermogenic than fat, 2 times more thermogenic than carbs, so it absolutely helps you lose weight. Study after study has been done that's proven that if you get your protein, you're going to see, as long as you're training, you're going to see some significant improvement in the outcomes in the gym, both in performance and in aesthetics. With that being said, the other reason I love protein is because protein, if you hit your protein macros, then you're probably going to hit your macros and calories as a whole. Protein's very filling. It's not going to trigger as much of a hunger response, and so it's a win for you there. The other recommendation that I have that I think everybody should be taking is creatine. Creatine is one of the most researched, if not the most researched supplement of all time. It's been proven safe, effective. You can use it even if you're in competitive sports. Even the Olympics will allow creatine. And at the end of the day, what we see is that ATP, your energy stores, when that phosphate breaks off, it creates a chemical reaction. That's how we get energy. It's how you get that extra rep or lift a heavier weight. Creatine phosphate, that phosphate will come and bond, reform in ATP. And it's how, again, we get that extra rep, lift a little heavier there. The only negatives that we see with creatine is that some people will experience some bloating and some people will experience some cramping. A lot of this can go away if you're properly hydrating. Now, creatine will cause you to retain some water, so your weight may go up with it. Again, this is why I don't want to focus all of my attention to just what a scale says. I love to see things like in-body DECA scans. It's going to give you a much more clear picture on what's happening because weight is relative. Now, once we get our protein, also one other caveat for creatine, creatine is extremely affordable. It's like $1 serving, so it's not going to break the bank. Now, the last thing that I recommend, and today we're really going to talk about general supplementation, is that you supplement with a multivitamin. The easiest way for me to break this down for people is to explain it like this. Calories in versus calories out determine how much you weigh. At the end of the day, barring you have some crazy medical condition, which is not crazy, but like PCOS, or you're dealing with some type of thyroid issue, which 98% of you are not dealing with that. As long as calories that you burn are more than the calories that you take out, you will lose weight. Countless studies done at the university level where professors have had students monitor their caloric intake and they've lost weight eating McDonald's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Again, I don't recommend you do that, but it is possible. The second thing that we look at is that calories determine how much you weigh, then macros determine what you look like. What is your proteins, your carbs, your fat ratio? And we do change those up based on what you're looking to accomplish, whether it's an aesthetic goal or a performance goal. We will manipulate the macro setup with that. And then last thing, micros determine how you feel. These are your vitamins and minerals. And that's why my next recommendation for supplementation is always a good solid multivitamin pack. Now, when you do take a multivitamin, never take it on an empty stomach because you're probably going to throw up 30 seconds later. Always make sure we're taking our our multivitamins with food. For all of these things, there are a lot of great companies out there. I personally like First Form. I think their protein is delicious. If you don't like the taste of it, you're probably not going to drink it. And even with their whey protein, if you struggle with lactose problems like I do, I'm lactose intolerant, their protein, the way it's filtered, the way it's produced, it doesn't give me any stomach upset. Now, those are my basic supplementations. That should not set you back much at all. Maybe $100, $120 max a month for you to be able to supplement your exercise and meal plan with that. Now, are there other supplements you can take? Absolutely. Are you likely to be wrapped up in some of the snake oil salesmanship that goes on the internet? Yeah. There's a likelihood that you could see that. So if you stay with these three, you're going to get your bang for your buck. You're going to get results, and they're proven effective. Now, for anybody that is approaching that 35 and up for men, and any woman that is perimenopause or in menopause or completed or in menopause, I am going to absolutely recommend, if you are dealing with things like exercise intolerance, if you are dealing with things like brain fog, like chronically being tired, I'm going to recommend that you consider going to a good, do your research. You go to a good HRT clinic. Now, who I recommend, they've done phenomenal for me. They do not pay me. This is not a paid endorsed ad at all. I recommend LifeMed here in Maryland. If you want to get their contact information, let me know. I'm happy to share that out with you. I'll probably drop some in the comment section as well too. But one of the reasons I'm going to recommend that you look at getting a blood draw is so much about what you're actually dealing with. And if you go to a primary care physician, one of the things I think is screwed up with the American medical institution and the way they practice is a man's testosterone level can go from 200 to 1,000 and be considered normal. How different do you think you feel at a 200 testosterone level versus a 750? I can tell you're a fundamentally different human. And we're not even talking about it from the concept of I want to get big and jacked. We're talking about just feeling better. We're talking about sex drive. We're talking about focus, being able to sleep, mood. Ironically, this was a surprise to me, especially for women that are dealing with menopause. One of the biggest things that is recommended for you guys is testosterone. Testosterone is still your dominant hormone, and our body wants to continue to keep that everything balanced. The sex hormones, the testosterone, the estrogen. So if we start to see a drop in estrogen, we can start to see that testosterone plummeting. And when that happens, again, all of the negative things that come with it, you start to experience. So wrap it up. The easiest thing that I'll tell you is protein, creatine, multivitamin. This is general advice for anybody across the board. For anybody that is dealing with exercise intolerance, lack of sex drive, brain fog, inability to sleep, moody, experiencing other menopause symptoms, I highly recommend you go to a accredited institution, again, someplace like LifeMed, allow them to do a blood draw, and then talk to the doctor about what your blood is telling you and them that needs to be done. If you have any questions about any supplement that I didn't list, then go ahead, drop them below. I'll be happy to give my 2 cents on it. And if you got anything out of this, please give us a like, subscribe, and share, and send it to your buddy. As always, keep striving to live fit, free in America. Head down, horns up. Salute.